Hi, this is Kim from Emerging Creatively Tutorials, and you probably know me for my jewelry making tutorials, but today, and I've been doing this each Friday, I've been sharing some of my other crafty projects that I have been working on, which mainly include kind of art journal, nature journal, and my scrapbooking type things. So today I wanted to show you my completed Week in the Life album. I kind of showed you what I thought I was going to do, and it turned out quite differently. So I wanted to show you what happened. And I'm not going to show you every page, I'll show you a little bit of it, and maybe give you some ideas for making your own mini album. So this is what I ended up with. If you remember from a couple weeks ago, I started out with this album. I had found it at the Goodwill store, brand new, and it was only 50 cents when I got it. It's a little mini 4x6 album. It had some pages in it, and I had added some pages to get ready for Week in the Life. And I actually used this album all week to document, but once I got my photos, they definitely weren't going to fit. I kind of decided, instead of whittling down my photos to make it fit in this album, that I would just do something different. And to be honest, I took a ton of photos, and I know I could have definitely made my album smaller and made it fit into this. But then I got to thinking, like, why not just leave them all, leave most of the photos, because how often do you really document your entire life, kind of moment to moment, for a week? And I thought it would be fun in years to come to look back and see what my life was like back then, or back a couple weeks ago. So I didn't use this, so I'll save it for another project. And I ended up making this album basically myself. I used the documentation of the different cards and things that I did all week, that I kept in this book all week, and carried this book with me basically everywhere, so I could write down everything. But I used the same, I used the same holes, and then I just added my own rings, and then I had to add a cover page. So I'll show you how I did that. So this is the cover page, or really it's the cover. And what the cover is two Project Life cards. I believe this is from the Maggie Holmes core kit, and then this is from the Heidi Swap. It's like a mini kit that had a lot of gold in it. I don't know what it was called. It might have just been called Heidi Swap, but it had a lot of gold. I love the arrows. So what I did was I simply adhered the two pages together, and then I added stickers and punched holes. And to get the tie, I wanted to make a little kind of lace tie. I just glued that in between the two pages. And I did that on the back too. So this is another Maggie Holmes, from the Maggie Holmes core kit, and I think this is too. Isn't that cute? Alright, so you could really do this with anything. You could use chipboard, or maybe some cardboard you have left over from a notebook or something, and cut it down to the right size and decorate it however you want. But you just have to glue this in between and kind of measure it up so the front and the back laces stick together. And then I realized I cut my lace really long, and I realized I could just wrap it all the way around, and I kind of liked that look. Okay, like I said, I'm not going to go through this whole album, but I'll show you kind of the different aspects of it. So when you open it up, some of my pages are different sizes because they came out of this album, and those pages were a little bit shorter, and I'm fine with that. In fact, I love that. I love the different ideas, different sizes, stuff like that. So I just kind of decorated things up, added a little bling here and there, some brads, and then I have different pages. So these are also, this is also a Project Life card, and again another Project Life card, and I just documented my day every single day. And a lot of the days I actually put, like, from this time to this time, this is what I did. And some of the days it was kind of like, this is what I did in the morning, this is what I did in the afternoon, this is what we did in the evening. And in between each day, so there's some like extra stuff in here, like I picked up a feather, I saw a butterfly. I put the photos for each day. So what I did for the photos was I just attached them back to back to make a page. And then you can see I added some stickers some places. And this is the first day, the first thing, this is the time I got up. And actually, this is a little funny quirk about me. This clock is 20 minutes ahead. And we know it's 20 minutes ahead, but I don't know why we still keep it 20 minutes ahead even though we know. So we're constantly having to figure out what time it actually is. This is just the clock on our alarm clock. And so, as you can see, I just attached the pictures back to back and I punched holes in them, so it just turned into a book. So the pages are really kind of thick because, you know, they're double pages from photos, and photo paper is thick. And so I just did them back to back, and then some of the pictures are vertical, some of them are horizontal, and that's fine with me. These are some pictures from my walk. So that's kind of what I did. I added some extra things in between some of the pictures just to give a little more description. I was particularly mad about this picture. This is the trail I walk on every day. I don't know how well you can see this, but they just unilaterally cut everything a few feet in from the trail, and it used to be all like very natural and beautiful, and I saw this day and about fell on the floor. It's still beautiful, and now I'm used to it again, but the first day it was rough. So that is kind of what I did. And then so each day, so it was Monday, so Tuesday I have another day, and then I wrote everything that we did, and there's like some receipts here and there, and then here's a page where I just put a pocket, just attached it right onto the page and put receipts in. So here's when Wednesday started, and all these larger pages are just Project Life cards, and the little ones are too. And then the ones that are more this size came out of this album, which I would have just left in there, but since I had started writing things in some of these pages, I couldn't use them again, so I stuck them in here too. So it just kind of goes through. There's another receipt, and that is what I ended up with. And I know there's a page somewhere where the photo kind of ended for the day with an odd number, so that is just in there by itself. And so that is my album. So the takeaways from this album that maybe you can use yourself: Week in the Life is over, but you can first of all do that anytime. You might want to do a day in your life, and you can document it, and it's really cool to look back on and see what your life was like in that week. This particular week for me was a weird week. We traveled, and my schedule was completely off. I didn't have internet for a lot of the time, which is also weird for me. Things didn't quite go the way we wanted them to in some ways. But it's cool to look back, like I said, and see what that week was like. Some of the days were very normal and very much like how my normal week is. And then another takeaway from seeing my Week in the Life album here is how easy it is to make a little miniature album. I just took some Project Life cards, which you could use anything. You could just cut regular paper, cardstock, whatever you have around, and decorate it up however you like. I showed you how I did the ties, and then I showed you how I did the photos, and that's a great way to make a little mini album. And I didn't even have to purchase anything to make this album. You may need to get the rings. I happen to have those on hand, and lace. I have a lot of crafty stuff on hand, so maybe it would be slightly easier for me. But you could do the same thing. And I don't print my photos at home. I just have them printed either at Shutterfly or Snapfish. And occasionally at a pharmacy that's local. And it's pretty simple. So that's how I put it together. I hope you like seeing it. I hope it inspires you. And I'll be back with some jewelry making tutorials very soon.